Okay, so I talk on about constructive denial quite a lot in my everyday interactions within society. Now, the reason I do that is because I'm at the bottom of society, and as I'm at the bottom of society, I get constructively denied quite a lot. Now, what I mean by constructive denial is rather than just denial, which would be just to say, no, you're not having access to this service, what they do, they place an impossible task in front of you and then say you won't get access to this service unless you perform this impossible task. Now, an example of that would be, well, when I was young, when I was about 19, I had some chronic pains in my back which have not gone away. And I've later found out that my hips were twisted, but they just kept claiming that it was lack of exercise. Now, at the time, I was a European kickboxing champion, so it definitely wasn't lack of exercise. But no matter how much I pointed that out, no matter how many times I pointed contradictions in their unweighted claims, they would just double down, triple down, and quadruple down on that claim. And if you won't take on board contradictions in your unweighted claims, what else can I do to disprove or to prove a negative? There's absolutely nothing. It's epistologically impossible. So I want to go through what's gone on with my local MP, Charlotte Nichols, and her team, while I've and point out the fact that I've been constructively denied any help from her. Now, how I've been constructively denied is that they just keep making up their own argument. And no matter how many times I refuse to clarify that or I disavow their claim, they just keep doubling down as if I've just said yes. So what keeps going on? I've gone to help because I got constructively dismissed from my old university, and they just keep going on as if I've just been dismissed. Now, constructive dismissal and dismissal are two totally different things. Dismissal goes through the proper legal procedures. Constructive dismissal is illegal. So I just want to go through it now, and I've put the emails through a text and speech sort of app, and I thought I'd go through it. So yeah, I do that now.
I'm just wondering if there is anything you can do to help with the current problem which I am facing. I have tried every avenue available from Student Finance England, the independent adjudicator for higher education, every solicitor in the local area and some out of it, and also emailed every single university in the UK for help. Quite recently I have been trying to get back into university, and seeing as I have already done 3 years, I need to obtain extra years. As this was the case, I rang Student Finance England up to see if there was anything they could do. They said they could add extra years on via the compelling personal reason procedure if anything unusual had gone on. I told them about being constructively dismissed from the university.
So notice this point here. I've actually said constructively dismissed, not dismissed. Constructively dismissed. Two totally different things.
Which they just stated, "Can you prove it?" And I replied yes. So for the next year I gathered up evidence together to prove that this is the case. Once I made up this compendium of evidence, I sent it to Student Finance England, which they replied back that they could not accept this evidence, as it was just screenshots of emails, and what I needed to do is to ring up King's College London and get them to put on headed paper that they constructively dismissed me. If only this was possible, then the plaintiffs in the O.J. Simpson case could have just got O.J. to write his guilt on headed paper. This is never going to happen. There is more chance of me obtaining the horn of a unicorn or to win the gold medal at dressage on a hippopotamus. So my next step was to come up with alternative solutions to this predicament. Some of the solutions that I came up with were that the emails which I presented to them, I could get verified by a solicitor and get them to place this information on headed paper. To this they said no. I then said I could take out a loan and pay back my tuition fees for the second year, which only came to £844, and would they wipe that year off if I did that? To this they said no. Then I thought I could gain a head statement by taking to court for constructive dismissal and I would just represent myself, but the solicitor said it needed to be done 3 months after leaving. Everything that I have suggested to them, they just double down on this impossible task of getting to admit to the crime of constructive dismissal, on headed paper. The next step after this, I got in contact with every university in the UK to see if they could suggest anything. This is the point where the University of Bath have suggested getting in touch with you.
You informed me that you were dismissed from after a couple of years study.
No, I did not. I said I was constructively dismissed. I did not say I was dismissed.
You have tried to obtain additional funding from student finance to join another course. However, this has not been approved because they require sufficient evidence that you were dismissed from. Please, can you confirm this is correct?
No, I will not confirm that that is correct whatsoever, because it's not correct. I was not dismissed. I was constructively dismissed. And it's not that I cannot produce the evidence, it's that the evidence which they're asking for can't be produced by anyone because it's not possible. It's an impossible task.
I was not dismissed. I was constructively dismissed. These are two very different things.
Thanks for providing confirmation.
What? What are you talking on about? I've not provided confirmation whatsoever. I've not confirmed it. I've dismissed it. I've said no, that is not what's gone on.
Please, can you inform me of whether you hold correspondence between yourself and the university? Usually, you would receive a letter from the university explaining the reasons for terminating your study.
No, they would not. No, they would not, because it's against the law, and you would not receive a letter explaining why they've broken the law to get you out of the university, because I was not dismissed, I was constructively dismissed.
There is also usually an appeals process if you do not want to leave. Did you engage in this, and can you share with me documentation relating to the outcome?
No, there was not an appeals procedure, because that's not how it works when people are breaking the law. No, I cannot provide documentation, because that's not how it works when people are breaking the law, because I was not dismissed, I was constructively dismissed.
Just so we are on the same page, could you give me a definition of what constructive dismissal is and how it differs from dismissal? I am willing to give you any information I have you answer this question. Otherwise, if you don't know what constructive dismissal is and keep going on as if I have just been dismissed, then there is no point.
Right, so that's the end of the dialogue really, because everything's gone blank and I've had no correspondence since that really, and I don't believe I'm going to get one. I think I've put him into a corner where he has to admit that I was constructively dismissed, and I don't think he wants to do that. I don't think he's doing this accidentally. I think he's doing it on purpose, and I think the majority of times that's what the case is. But I'm in a weird predicament now where I'm going to have to go to the person who lost the election, because the person who won the election is refusing, or the person who won the election's team, because it's not actually her I'm actually corresponding with, is refusing to help me out and is actually constructively denying me help. So we're saying that sayonara.